Hi guys, welcome to a special edition of Awesome 5. My name's Jade. With the elections being the hot topic at the moment, we're bringing you highlights from the Show Us Your Disability Policy Forum held at Western Springs.
What legislation would be put in place if we had a chance? We would establish a Disabilities Commission to work alongside the Commissioner, where people so that there was a group who are dedicated to providing that support and independent advice and advocacy for people with disabilities and their families to the Commissioner. We would also make changes to the Education Act so that children who are subject to Kiwi suspension, which is where schools say to children, disabled children and their families, no sorry, we can't help you, go to the school down the road, that would not be lawful, and those families would have recourse to change that. You've also asked us about children in schooling, and we believe that the funding needs to be needs-based for that particular child, that it needs to be increased, so it's not just being, so schools can't just say we need that money for kids with high needs, but that kids with moderate and low needs are also getting the support that they need to learn as best as they can. Disability issues are not minority issues. They are the issues that affect everyone. And what is good for those with disabilities is good for the country as a whole. Whether it's transport, whether it's buildings, all of it is about making our whole country and our communities more accessible. What is the barrier? The barriers to issues with disabilities are the assumptions that are made about difference. So that rather than looking at what is common between us all, and therefore what we all need, too often we look at the differences and don't support our communities. We believe that all people in this country have the same rights and freedoms, the rights as citizens and responsibilities as citizens. And our job is to make sure everyone is able to access those rights and freedoms and to exercise those responsibilities.
Labour's vision continues to be a country where disabled people have meaningful lives within their communities based on respect and equality, where disabled people have their diversity recognised and their human rights protected. This is reflected in the motto that we in Labour stand by strongly, and that motto is nothing about us without us. We have the framework, we believe we have the framework. In fact, we think we have a world-leading framework in the disability sector, in the New Zealand Disability Strategy that was launched under Labour in 2001 after much consultation with the sector. This framework was reviewed and the results published in August 2008. And the shift in attitude towards a more inclusive society was evidenced in this review. What we're concerned about are the number of cuts that have been made over the last 3 years, and the fact that what that really does do is put us on the back foot and mean that in a sense when Labour is re-elected there is going to be a lot of rebuilding that needs to take place, and I think that's something that we need to acknowledge. So I can't stand here in front of you today and make hundreds of promises about what we're going to do. The policy will be released in the next few weeks, but I think the discussion that we need to have to start with on what we have lost over the last 3 years, do a review of that and make sure that we reinstate some of the funding that's been lost. Thank you very much.
You know, I want to be very honest this afternoon in that I am not here to present a clear, fully packaged disabilities policy on behalf of the ACT Party. And I actually wish I could, but the way ACT realised that we exist primarily to push the government forward in a few areas. We are strong in areas such as the economy, education. Education is one of our core issues, and promoting choice in education. Law and order is another one, and also cutting down expensive red tape. And the ACT Party have helped promote an extra $69 million over the next 4 years for special education. This is an area that ACT are strong in.
Mana would like to see the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities enshrined in the legislation of this country. We also want the New Zealand Government to ratify the Convention optional protocol so as to ensure that disabled people whose rights have been breached can take cases directly to the United Nations. Thirdly, we're also keen on promoting the development of anti-discrimination legislation, a lens which actually needs to be applied to every law passing through the New Zealand Parliament. When I was in Parliament, I sat on the Select Committee which dealt with the legislation that tried to bring the whole sheltered workshop situation into the modern era, so I'm familiar with what happened back then. Our policy is that the minimum wage exemption permit should be abolished. Either you are in a paid job and should have the same rights as any other employed worker, or you're not in work. And the issues are different and should be dealt with differently. But what we've ended up here and legislated for is an in-between way station where people are neither one nor the other. And that's got to end. All workers deserve the same rights on the job. We also believe that much more should be done in terms of government resourcing for direct employment support and job creation for people with impairments. There's a huge gap here, as I'm sure many of you in this room are all too aware. Despite the efforts of a lot of good providers and efforts of government, there always has been a huge gap. And we want to see it filled with proactive job creation with real work, and we certainly don't want it filled by going back to the days of the sheltered workshops and the rehab.
The Māori Party supports proper recognition of disability, disabled people and their families in the context of whānau ora. We believe that disabled persons have the right to participate in decision making, be protected by law and have control of their lives. We come to this election having had the benefit of our co-leader Tariana Turia being the Minister for Disability Issues. The priority for the Māori Party is that disabled persons and their whānau can access support in order to have a life of their own. And to achieve that vital sense of purpose, we endorse the concept, nothing about us without us. Encompassed within that approach is the initiative known as the Circle of Friends, which enables disabled persons to live the life they wish by ensuring there is appropriate support in place through their own networks, their own friends, family and neighbours. We have also indicated we will extend individualised funding to ensure disabled persons can plan the life they wish. And I think it is important to state that the Māori Party is absolutely committed toward ensuring formal and informal caregivers will enable whānau members to stay in their own homes, especially older people and disabled persons, to be supported to live the life they want to. We have made a commitment that we will resource respite care and wraparound services for the disabled persons to ensure they determine where they seek to live. That was why we supported the sleepover case, and we will always support any initiative which supports whānau being able to care for their own. We want to see an appropriate review of income support to ensure full participation in family and community life in order that people with disabilities have better access to supported independent living.
If I may get across the line in November, feel free to chase me down. I am very interested in the issues that confront 1 in 5 New Zealanders. People with intellectual or physical disabilities need all the help that we can give them to be the best people that they are. I would reaffirm that in this budget this year, National did commit an extra $130 million towards the disability services. We are committed as a government to the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Disabled Persons, And we are also very, very proud that we have the Ministerial Committee on Disability Issues meeting with the Human Rights Commission and the Ombudsman and the Convention Coalition to bring together a lot of the disparate agencies that deal with the issues you deal with every day and to give you better representation across the sector. I would urge you to suspend disbelief about our welfare packages, because there is one coming up next week which will deal specifically again with disability issues, and I understand that there's some very good stuff coming through from that. Sue's right though, hold us accountable. It's all very well to say a lot of fine words, but if I get across the line, I will certainly be there with you for the North Shore and for the people that work over there and beyond. Thank you.
That wraps up our coverage of the forum, but stick around for one-on-one interviews with some of the politicians. That's all from me. Stay awesome, New Zealand.